I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Thursday.
Can it be Friday? It should be Friday.
We're all looking at that late December calendar.
Yeah, we are. Longingly. Yes.
Almost there. Just a few more weeks.
So close.
Such a nice break coming up. Glad to have you with us. We're discussing a lot today. Blake and I debating Candace Owens and Turning Point USA. Blake making the argument she's asking important questions. She's trying to dive into the truth to understand what happened to her friend. I think she's a bad actor. I think that there's a process to figure out what happened to Charlie Kirk. It's called a trial. There's rules. There's cross-examinations. And what Candace has done has directly harmed Charlie's reputation and the team he built and the institution he built with Turning Point USA. They had nothing to do with his assassination. There's no clear evidence of that. It's all speculation. It's conspiracy theories. And she's at the point now where she's asking for donors to get their money back. So she is harming his family, the institution that he built, his reputation. Turning Point is at a point now where they have to respond. They should respond legally. I think they're giving Candace one more out in order to try to kind of preserve this relationship. But she's crossed the Rubicon. She is harming what was Charlie's legacy. We are going to have a process to get to the answers. And I'm very frustrated with what Candace is doing, but I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Give me a call at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's go to John in Inglewood. Good morning, John. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Good morning. So there was a time when I considered myself as closely aligned with Candace Owens as anybody. I was a longtime follower of hers and listened to her up through her departure with Daily Wire and the whole anti-Semitic Rabbi Shmuley feud. I went in and I listened to everything involving her accusations of being an anti-Semite. Listened to all of Rabbi Shmuley, his daughter, Prager's open letter to Candace Owens.
Yeah.
Listened to all of Candace Owens' rebuttals, all of her initial statements, and I'm on her side on as far as the anti-Semitic accusations. Not that she's not culpable. She's a wordsmith. She knows what she's doing. She infers a lot of things when she asks questions under the guise of it being a question, which could be interpreted as being accusational. But she's good at what she does, and I really think Turning Point might have bitten off a little more than they can chew with her.
What has she been right about, either with Israel, Macron's, Turning Point?
I've only been lightly following the Turning Point. I parted ways with listening to her every day after her exit from Daily Wire and all of the anti-Semitic accusations. Yeah. And I was on her, and I'm on her side with all of that. I don't believe her to be an anti-Semite. Okay. I think the response to her was completely emotionally driven. And, the logic and the facts to me, and, I'm a good listener to
Yeah, but John,
this subject
this
matter.
is the point I have again, is like, what has she been right about at all? I mean, I understand the appeal. She came in kind of swinging against the left, but nobody can tell me what she's actually correct about.
So what, that she took a vantage point, with the conflict or war over in Gaza, that the children were important, and it was fair to question the behavior of Israel, and that was it. And Charlie Kirk actually,
it's not. It's a lot more than that.
Now and obviously that's a big overview. It's a big broad point, and Charlie Kirk was aligned with her on that. Charlie Kirk and her were in lockstep unison when that broke out with it's okay to question the behavior of Israel, in this conflict. And it started to, and for whatever reason, it spun out with Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk stepped back.
Well,
and so when you say, what is she right about? In my opinion, based on, I'm not as familiar with the current subject matter. I stopped listening to her because she went down more of a TMZ road of
She's
commentary.
in, like Alex Jones conspiracy theories, but we've got to run, John, at this point. I appreciate the call, but that's my challenge to you all. She's got the #1 podcast in the world. What has she been right about? Instead, it's become this like fodder for just conspiracy theories, and at this point, it's harming Charlie Kirk's legacy. I don't like it. Let's give us a call, 303-696-1971. Now is time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good morning. It is Thursday, 21 and sunny in Denver, but still icy out there. Be careful. Expecting a high of 38 today. Use caution. News sponsored by Pasture Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story Wednesday was a challenging day at DIA because of the weather, and it may continue today as airports across the country are getting hit hard again.
The wintry mix complicating air travel too, with more than 600 flights delayed and canceled at Denver International. Back east, upstate New York getting hit overnight with lake effect snow and thunder.
A Virginia man is in custody related to pipe bombs being placed at the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before J6. They say it was a nearly 5-year investigation into the identity of the person who placed the bombs. Not the lady that they showed last month. So it's not her. They say it's this guy. The FBI released videos of the suspect placing the devices outside the DNC headquarters, and then another video showed him placing one behind the RNC building in an alley. DJT set to host the leaders of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda shortly to oversee the signing of a peace deal. Hundreds of Border Patrol agents are in New Orleans as part of a federal law enforcement operation. Federal agents reportedly rounded up groups of immigrant workers across the city on Wednesday, and agents in unmarked vehicles were stopping at locations where day laborers commonly gather. So they were doing their job. A Border Patrol commander says several hundred personnel have been deployed throughout the region and that they will remain in New Orleans until the mission is accomplished. Luigi Mangione has returned to court today in New York for a pre-trial hearing on what's the 1-year anniversary of the cold-blooded murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione's lawyers are trying to get key evidence once again tossed out from his upcoming murder trial. Susan Kokenda, she's been investigating global elites and the British, keeping the superpowers pitted against each other since the 70s. She says the meeting with Russia 2 days ago was unprecedented because China was also meeting with Russia at the same time.
3 nuclear superpowers converged in overlapping meetings. And London is in absolute panic mode because these 3 nations together have the power to end British imperial control once and for all. And Donald Trump knows it. Not only is he building new alliances with the other superpowers, he's targeting the very lifeblood of the British Empire, drug money flows. But that's not what you'll hear from the mainstream media or from all too many influencers in MAGA world.
Susan Kokenda once again. Very interesting. Nugs in Indiana. Jamal Murray last night, 10 3-pointers and a team high 52 points. Nikola Jokic, 24, 13, and 8, 135 to 120. The final, the Nuggets have won 15 games, only 6 losses. And the Broncos' work week continues today as they prepare for the Raiders on Sunday. As Broncos fans hoping there will not be a letdown because, as Billy mentioned earlier in the show, this is very important when you're talking about possible number 1 seed in the postseason versus the Patriots, who are on a roll as well. NFL tonight, the Lions playing host to the Cowboys. On Thursday night, football, and the Rockies have named Josh Burns, their new general manager in charge of all baseball operations. Burns spent 11 seasons with the Dodgers. 11 in Parker, 12 in Westminster, and it is, you know what? It's actually like 20 in Denver and in Parker and Westminster. I got a little busy playing Billy, arguing with Jeff last hour, and you are waking up. And, man,
that was good.
That's a tough seat to be in. I'll tell you what. I don't know.
I'll take it from all sides.
Yeah, you will. I love it. Okay, now I don't have the temperature, so it's like 20-some, 21 degrees up and down the front
Just say
range.
it's 80.
Yeah, yeah.
Just say water is going to freeze outside. You need a coat. Good enough.
There you go. I love it. Well, you just heard it from Billy and Jeff. You're waking up with Jeff and Billy. Blake Olson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Be on the lookout for some limited visibility in areas of fog to get your day started. After the fog burns off, becoming mostly sunny, highs mid to upper 30s. Fair tonight, teens and 20s. Mostly to partly cloudy, upper 30s to near 40 on Friday, near the mid-20s Friday night. Mostly to partly cloudy Saturday. During the course of the day Saturday, there will be a chance of snow showers, as tonight, Friday, and Saturday, there will be snow in Colorado's mountains, with a few snow showers reaching the plains. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
You know, Billy, one of the things I love about this time of the year is all the great concerts that are out there.
Yeah, you were just talking about a different one a couple of days ago.
Went and hung out. The Latter-day Saints did a concert here. That's moved on, but there's upcoming concerts.
Yeah, and you just did a school concert.
Yeah, last night.
Yeah,
that's right. I got
it was
one
great.
son with the trombone, one son with the French horn.
Which was fantastic. In fact, listeners, Jeff and Bill show, and this is for Devin as well. Jeff said it was a fantastic concert because he could actually identify what song they were playing.
Yeah, right.
That's important.
We're moving past the 7th, 8th grade squeak and squawks.
Yes, exactly. When you can recognize the songs, that is a big step forward for everybody.
You can celebrate the holidays with Symphony of the Rockies. From holiday sing-alongs to film music, classics, and family concerts, Symphony of the Rockies has you covered for all of your holiday festivities. You can bring friends and family to enjoy the sparkle of the season. And joining us now is the man himself. He's the conductor, Devin Patrick Hughes. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
The man with the stick. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It's great to see you, and it's great to meet you, Jeff. The last time I was on, it was just Bill and I doing a duet.
Yeah. This is now a triplet? No, there's something else.
Trio.
We're
There
trio.
you go. See, I'm not nearly as talented as you guys are. Now, Devin, tell us all about the Symphony of the Rockies and how people can be a part of this, and what kind of music you're performing.
Well, we're here to make symphonic music accessible, whether it's classical music, pop music. We almost did a Rapper's Delight in our 80s mixtape concert just a few weeks ago. So we hit kind of all genres, and we want to make music accessible for people. We're in the schools, kind of picking up where school programs have been cut to just make sure that folks get to learn the trombone, the French horn, the violin, the piano, because we know even if somebody's not going to play an instrument their whole lives, we know just playing that instrument gives them those skills of perseverance, of camaraderie, of cooperation with other folks, and it gives them that drive to kind of succeed in anything and be a future leader. So we just think that everybody deserves to get access to music. And these upcoming concerts are exactly what you talked about. The holidays are my favorite time of year. We've got one sing-along discovery show for families. It's going to be all the holiday hits. You get to sing with the orchestra and dance with the orchestra and kind of ring bells with the orchestra. And then December 20th is our Let It Glow Holiday Pops. This is, a mammoth concert with film music. It's got Vivaldi's Four Seasons. It's also got some sing-alongs, but then it's also got from Christmas overtures to Hanukkah festivals on the concert.
That's Devin Patrick Hughes. He's a symphony conductor with the Symphony of the Rockies, the Holly Jolly Family Concert, 2 and 4 p.m. Sunday, December 14th at the Newman Center. I was just there. That's beautiful, by the way. That's a great place. And then the Let It Glow Holiday Pops, Saturday, December 20th, 7:30 to 9:30. That's at the Newman Center as well. That's at the DU, right? University of Denver?
Yeah. This is my favorite place to play. To me, it's basically the most beautiful, acoustically and aesthetically concert hall in Colorado. It's almost like an Italianate opera house. It's got all the partitions. You're going to get the best possible sound. We're doing our holiday pop shows there, and of course, the Rite of Spring on March 1st. So if people are really looking ahead, you can get tickets to Rite of Spring and Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto, which is one of the hardest piano concertos ever written for anybody.
That's Devin Patrick Hughes, symphony conductor with the Symphony of the Rockies. Now, here's what I love. I was just down at the Newman Center this last week, and I saw a violin performance from someone trained at Juilliard. And it's such a level of expertise and beauty and lifetime devotion to watch somebody that's really talented with these instruments play on the stage. And when you have a symphony, you're seeing all levels of that, from the drums to the violins to the violas to trumpets and everything else that could come together. And so on one level, you get to see the beauty of a lifetime of devotion to an instrument, right? So that is cool in itself. But then, and this is what I think is great to teach kids, right, is when it all comes together. Charlie Puth is doing a really good job of this, and he's, by the way, going to be performing at the Super Bowl, singing the national anthem. But showing the layering of music, like, that's something that symphonies have on full display, is that the power and the beauty of the music comes in the layering of all these different instruments together. Tell us a little bit about that, Devin.
Yeah, that's a great point. When you get, you can have just one player, but the magic of the orchestra is you get, 80 players on the stage playing at the highest level, in their instrument, probably works tens of thousands of hours throughout their whole life, dedicated to their craft and keeping up their instrument, keeping up their technique, expanding their musicality. And when you put the orchestra together, that's why we play pop music equally with classical music. Like, for example, we got the Vivaldi piece, which is like 400 years old. But in it, Vivaldi actually writes in the score, okay, this is like the teeth chattering because it's the Four Seasons, it's winter. Okay, this is when you slip and fall down on the ice. So music is representing, just everyday things that we do. And then we go all the way to John Williams. We happen to be playing music from Hook, from Home Alone, and Harry Potter, like the Christmas scenes. And John Williams is describing, the same thing with music. So that's really, the purpose of what an orchestra can do. It goes all the way from a Mozart symphony to an evil galactic empire like in Star Wars. So you get all those different layers that you talked about, and you put all those folks together. And something like, when you talk about Star Wars or Harry Potter, this happens to be also very difficult music. Sometimes you hear, it's just a pops concert and it's simple. But the Harry Potter, opening for the first violin, it's these like really fast 30-second notes, we call them. Like violinists will not show up, will not sign up for that concert when they see that's on the show, because it's so hard. You have to start at a very slow tempo and work it up, and then something we call faking, which is exactly what it sounds. If you have a ton of notes, like sometimes if you just fake it and you kind of play the idea of it, you can get across pretty well to the audience. Even orchestras at the highest level are guilty of this every once in a while.
Yeah, unless you have perfect pitch, you're not going to notice that that's an F sharp and it shouldn't be.
That's Devin Patrick
We try to
Hughes.
distinguish between our Fs and F sharps,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay, good.
Devin's the symphony conductor with the Symphony of the Rockies. They've got a number of shows coming up. If you go to symphonyrockies.org, symphonyrockies.org, and I think this is important. Look, the Newman Center is beautiful. It's a afternoon, evening in a beautiful setting with highly esteemed musicians that have dedicated their lives to the craft. There's lots of opportunities to go see a movie, go to a sporting event, and just kind of show up. But I think there's something very cool and important to do as a parent or as a grandparent. Take your kids, dress up nice, go to a symphony, and elevate your experience. Watch the performers, watch the conductor, and watch them put together an evening. I think it elevates humanity, and it's important to go do that. And they're making it accessible. So if you've never been to a Symphony of the Rockies, that's what they aim to do. Make this accessible, welcoming for people to really enjoy some of their holiday favorites. Now, Devin, I want to ask you personally about being a conductor. I feel like there's so few people that go into this line of work. How did you do it? What was the education like? How do you choose to become a symphony conductor?
Well, I started. I was a trombonist that was my first instrument, and then I also played piano. I played in jazz groups. I played in concert bands. I started playing in orchestra in college for the first time, and I was just so moved by composers like Brahms and Rachmaninoff. Playing in the orchestra, watching what the conductor does, like what the conductor doesn't do. The conductor, I learned that the conductor is the one person on the stage that actually doesn't make any sound, but you have to kind of move and influence and inspire all these, highly trained, highly skilled, incredible musicians in front of you, so you can translate something to the audience. So I think the coolest part for me has been learning about how to build the orchestra, like how to share music with kids to people in senior living communities who might not be able to get to our concerts to be able to go to them. And so I think one of the coolest parts and funnest developments that I've been fortunate to be part of is, as we kind of create accessibility for our community, we're creating what we call discovery shows. Where we write the shows, we arrange the music, we compose songs to it, and kids can come in and they can experience anything from classical to film music to rock and roll. We a lot of times will arrange some of the most popular pop charts for orchestra, and that's fun to decide like who gets the voice part, which instrument. And so these are like shorter concerts where kids come, they come from buses, they come in buses from their schools, or we have family concerts like this holiday Holly Jolly concert where it's all sing-alongs, where it's just highly interactive. And we want like students, we have kids usually my daughter started coming when she was 6 months. But a good age to start is between like the ages of 1 and 2 to come to these curiosity and discovery concerts. And kids get to, they get to experience kind of the excitement of the orchestra. They get to call and response. There's a lot of participation. Sometimes they even get to conduct the orchestra. So for me, like being a conductor was really about, when I started, it was like there were gatekeepers. Like classical music was this, and I needed to be you need to wear a tuxedo, or you need to have taken a music appreciation class, or you need to know when to clap. So my goal has been kind of like, how do we get like outsiders in to the symphonic music party? And that's been the most inspiring aspect of being a conductor for me.
That's Devin Hughes, symphony conductor for the Symphony of the Rockies, joining Jeff and Bill live. I feel you, Devin, because as a kid, the hardest thing for me was at the symphony. It's like, shh, gotta be quiet. Like, but I'm a kid. Just come on.
Yeah,
okay, now you've got one of those
Yeah.
Discovery concerts you were just talking about at the Holly Jolly Family Holiday Discovery Concert coming up Sunday the 14th. They've got a 2 o'clock matinee. You've also got a 4 p.m. performance. Now, you were talking about a Discovery interactive concert. Talk to our audience about what they'll experience, because I love the idea of Jeff saying, hey, go, get a little dressed up. Now come out, and this is a great way to expose your kids to the joy of symphonic concerts, but it also is interactive. So you're not telling the kids, shh, for the next 2.5 hours. You have to be quiet, and I'll tell you when you get to clap. But whatever you do, don't pick your nose. It's not that. It's a thing where the kids and the families are there. So talk to the families that are in our audience. What are they going to get at that Holiday Discovery concert? What does it mean by interactive concert and symphonic performance?
Well, and a funny story about that, one of my first memories when I was bused to as a kid, probably I was 4 or 5, or maybe 5 or something. It was kindergarten, I think. And the conductor turned around and told the kid, shh. But we were so excited. And since I was trying to kind of help, the leadership, I guess, I was like trying to help him shush the kids. So now I'm doing the opposite. But these Discovery concerts are usually like we will have to send out the song and the dance to the kids before so they can kind of practice, because they're going to be interacting. They're going to be part of the show. Like we wouldn't, like for us to just be playing on stage without them, it wouldn't make any sense, because they are an integral part of the show. But at this Holly Jolly on December 14th, we don't need to send any of the songs out, because it is all like the most popular, like Deck the Halls, Winter Wonderland. We've got the Dreidel song. We've got Feliz Navidad. And we arrange all of these for our kind of little brass and strings ensemble. And all the kids get to sing along. We've got new this year, Santa Claus is coming to town, Little Drummer Boy. And basically the whole show, people are tired after the show, because you don't get to sit the entire show. You have to stand, and you're singing with us, and you are the chorus, and you have the word. And you'd be surprised at some of these second and third verses, like on Jingle Bells, like some of the esoteric verses that nobody ever gets to sing. So you actually will learn a little something about even some songs that some folks may think that they really know well.
That is cool. That is Devin Hughes. He is the conductor, the symphony conductor at Symphony of the Rockies. This is why it's such a special event to take your kids out. You got to put this on the calendar for Sunday, December 14th, 2 o'clock matinee, 4 p.m. Show. You can get tickets online at their website. But this is important because, as you heard Devin talk about it, this is not that stuffy old concert performance you're probably thinking of. This is a concert in the fullest sense of the word. When you go put down your tickets and you go see some other band that you really like, you're in the crowd, you're standing up, you and your friends are dancing, and what are you doing? You're singing along. Devin is bringing that experience to a symphonic orchestra. This is a game changer, especially if you want to expose your kids to this kind of music. There's no better way to get them excited about the idea of symphonic performances and let them understand the intricacies and the beauty contained in the music than getting them involved. This is just like a regular concert, except they're going to have to dress a little fancier. But you promise maybe you go get a treat or ice cream afterwards? This is a sell. This is absolutely fantastic. Now, Devin, earlier you talked about doing Rapper's Delight. Man, I'm telling you, you can throw it down with the Sugar Hill Gang. Okay, we're going to have to talk about that. But you also said the Rachmaninoff piece is one of the most difficult ones to perform. For those that are not real deep in as far as music theory, when they hear the Rachmaninoff, most of us are exposed to it through old Gene Wilder on, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But what is difficult specifically about the Rachmaninoff piece?
Well, with this particular piece, it's February 28th is the concert. It's called Rite and Rock, The Rite of Spring and Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto. And I'll preface this by saying Rite of Spring was so controversial in 1913 when it was performed for the first time, and so dissonant and the rhythm so difficult to follow, that there was a fight in the concert. The people in the concert were yelling so much at the orchestra, at the dancers on stage, because it was a ballet, that the dancers could not hear the orchestra, and people had bloody noses. They had to call the police. People were taken away in the ambulance. So we do not try to reenact that, of course. But for the pair on that, the Rachmaninoff Third Piano Concerto, Rachmaninoff was a pianist, but also a composer and conductor. So he also happened to be like 6'6", so his hands were like twice the size of mine. So he wrote these piano concertos for himself. So he could reach all the leaps and everything and make all the runs and get all the notes under one hand. But for any kind of normal-sized human pianist, to be able to do this, and it's his third piano concerto. He's pushing the boundaries of what is even possible pianistically, and it's thousands of notes, probably tens of thousands of notes. Sometimes I think there's 500 notes over the course of a couple of seconds that the pianist has to play. So it's just if you get a chance to listen to it, it was also made famous in the movie Shine in like the 1990s. But you can just kind of hear all these notes going through. And then on top of that, the orchestra has to follow the pianist. So whatever kind of rhythmic turns or changes in tempo, changes in speed the pianist makes, I have to be right with, as the conductor, I have to be right with the pianist. So I have to know exactly where he's going to go. And I have to kind of preempt it. Like you have to think ahead. That's because sound takes time to travel across the stage. And so I have to translate what the pianist is doing, and then the orchestra has to respond to that. They're partially listening to the pianist, partially trusting where I am. So it just makes it, when you see it come together, you don't always think about all the things that have to go in behind it just to make all those pieces come together.
Oh, that is fantastic.
I'm
excited to see it. I want to see it
you
now.
You can see the depth
Yeah.
there. That's Devin Patrick Hughes, symphony conductor with Symphony of the Rockies. Go to symphonyrockies.org, symphonyrockies.org to check out the holiday events they have coming up. And also, if you're part of Colorado Gives Day, you can support them. Symphony of the Rockies at coloradogives.org. Support them in the great work that they're doing.
Yeah.
All right.
If any of you, one thing.
Go ahead.
If any of you are out there and you've said, these kids and their crappy music, here's how you change that. Go and support Symphony of the Rockies. They're doing the good music, and they're doing it the old school way. So if you complain about what your kids are listening to, throw some money down on Colorado Gives Day toward the Symphony. It helps them out.
Devin, last question. I've got an 8th grader that plays the trombone. I've got a 7th grader that plays the French horn. I have a 10th grader that plays the saxophone. Lots of horns. All the time going on in the family. What's your advice to a young musician out there?
It's just, play every style. I mean, I feel like that's one of the errors in the past that maybe orchestras have made, like thinking that, this music is better than other music. But I think there's good music and bad music, like all genres, right? The Bohemian Rhapsody, we played that 3 weeks ago, arranged for orchestra. It's one of the greatest pieces ever written, right? Like John Williams' E.T., like that score, like the last scene where the bike lifts off and they're running away from the authorities. Steven Spielberg recut that because John Williams' music was so great. Usually you say, tell the composer, cut this, cut that. But in this case, Steven Spielberg said, I'm going to recut the film because I'm not going to mess with what you're doing with this music is just brilliant. So I think it's trying all. If you're playing in one genre, if they're playing in jazz or they're playing in symphonic band, try another genre. Try some Beethoven, try some Beyonce, try some Taylor. There's so many great melodies out there. If you have a melody, say you have Christmas songs, like say Jingle Bells. Play that and then play it in every key. Play it by ear and then take it to E flat major, then take it to A flat major, then take it to D flat major. So simple songs, kind of training your ear to be able to so without the sheet music, just taking the tunes, and maybe in a few years they can go out and make some money playing Christmas music like on the streets. I would say that's the main thing, is just try and experience as much music as you possibly can. Play every day. and I don't say practice because when you say practice, it's kind of like, yeah, I have to do that. You play, you experiment every day with your instrument, and just go to as much live music as possible. That's why we make the orchestra in so many different forms, from Newman Center to playing in a church, to playing at Breckenridge Brewery over the summer, to playing at Centennial Amphitheater, is because we want all folks, and in a family setting, because most of these are family concerts where adults, the adults remember watching Home Alone and enjoying that music, and the kids get to experience that for the first time. I would say just experience music in as many different forms you can with as many different people as possible.
Devin Patrick Hughes, sure appreciate your time today. You're doing great work with the Symphony of the Rockies. My son had his concert last night, his Christmas concert, and I saw him up there talking to his conductor, his band instructor, and they seemed very worried, very concerned. He was the trombone player, and he had stepped off the spit valve on his trombone arm. And he was worried about that, trying to adjust that.
Oh, wow.
Those conductors, they got to fix it all right there. Devin Patrick Hughes, I sure appreciate your time. Thank you so much today.
Yeah, it was nice to see you again, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you.
Likewise.
Happy Christmas if you don't see
I'm going to
it.
go check those out. I think my kids would love those concerts.
They would
They've
love
got
it.
Sunday, December 14th, the Holly Jolly Family Holiday Discovery Concert, 2 o'clock and 4 p.m. And then on the... I don't have the date here.
Oh, no, I
just
don't have
lost
the date
it.
either. Yeah,
Yeah,
I lost the date
the
as
Let
well.
It Glow
Yeah, Let It Glow
Holiday Pops
yeah.
Spectacular.
That one looks like
I
a
think
lot of fun.
Let me just pull that up on my phone.
Yeah, the Holly Jolly one, that's fantastic. That's coming up Sunday, December 14th. Again, it's going to be a bite-size type of symphonic performance that is going to be completely and totally interactive. It's just like going to the concert. If you've taken your kids or you've been dragged because your kids want to go see Bluey, the Wiggles, or something like that, this is a lot more fun. The music's better. People aren't wearing giant costumes, but the kids get to get up and dance and sing just like they would in the audience. So it's really, really cool.
The big holiday pops on December 20th, 7:30 to 9:30 at symphonyrockies.org. All right.
Yeah, and don't forget how much important symphonic music can be. In fact, we all know the Christmas song with Nat King Cole, the chestnuts roasting by the open fire type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, originally not done with strings. The first recording in 1944 was without strings, and they added it later because an arranger thought it would sound better, and that's when the song ended up taking off. It wasn't until they put the strings into it that it became a bigger deal.
When we come back, you're going to be shocked at how few burglaries are actually solved in Colorado each year. We'll give you the numbers on that and how one musician had to find his own instruments by chasing down Facebook Marketplace ads. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Jeff and Bill Show. Billy, great article on the Colorado Sun on this musician who had his stuff stolen now twice.
Twice? That's crazy.
Out of his shed in Lakewood. He's now moving. He's done with the city, and his stuff constantly being broken into. 15%, Bill. 15% of burglaries in Colorado are solved.
Yeah. And then you wonder why people
85% that are just left to go.
Yeah. And then you sit there and go, why do we have so much petty crime? And you're like, well, if you're only solving it 15% of the time, what's the motivation to not go out there and break in and steal stuff? It's the same thing that we talked about earlier this week on the shoplifting.
Right. It's about the same number.
Yeah, if the retail locations are like, we don't really want to stop them. We've already priced in the loss into the goods and services that people are paying for inside the building, so we're covered. It's okay if you steal it. Then are we ever surprised that retail theft is increasing? Because the people that they're being stolen from don't care, and the police aren't working on it.
It appears that in Colorado, crime really does pay.
Yeah, especially if you got a motel room, am I right?
Yeah,
because that's the story. Yeah.
In a different way. You might not be...
Not that way. Not like, not that. We're talking about fencing stuff, yeah.
This guy ends up following his stuff on Facebook Marketplace to a hotel room or a motel room, and he goes in, and the entire place is like some big warehouse operation.
Yeah, of
stolen stuff.
And then he bought some of his own stuff back.
I think you just got to put like those air tags on everything.
Yeah, something like that. It's getting ridiculous. And the idea that you can run a fencing operation outside of a motel room is a little ridiculous. But the other thing that was contained inside that story that I liked and I wanted to highlight was the fact that it was a bunch of local sleuths that jumped in and helped out, much like when you were assaulted downtown at the protest. Right. Same thing where the community came together, and a lot of eyes are much more effective than just two. And that's what they saw in this, is a lot of people were watching the marketplace and other, secondary sellers, and that's where they found this stuff.
I was shocked at how some of the music stores got popped on this stuff.
I was too, because normally they're pretty good about it.
Yeah, but right. Yeah. Wow. Go to the Colorado Sun to check that out. Few burglaries are solved in Colorado each year, only 15%. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with all the breaking news on this pipe bomb suspect. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
It's almost Friday. This is CanUS.